Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's Get to Know Your Customers Day, Tony. What would you like to ask our customers?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Any of you out there under the age of 50? Any of you?
It's increasingly unlikely. How about that answer?
That's what I think. You know, whenever I hear the word customer, I think of the Paul Simon, Art Garfunkel song, trying to keep the customers satisfied.
Okay.
Satisfied. Deputy Sheriff said to me, "Tell me what you're doing here, boy. You know, you better pack your bags and flee. You're in trouble,
over
boy."
Over 60
and
to go
now,
Simon and Garfunkel.
Into more.
Over 60.
Yeah, so over 80. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Tom Brady is considering his options. LeBron is putting up numbers, and the Chargers are making some coaching changes. But we begin today with the Dallas Cowboys going on the road last night and shredding Tampa Bay 31-14 after jumping out to a demoralizing 24-0 lead early in the third quarter. Even with Tom Brady gaining 351 yards in the air, Tampa Bay was not competitive. Dallas owned the game, and Dak Prescott was flawless. So, Wilbon, does this elevate your opinion of the Cowboys?
No. No. I mean, I said yesterday that I thought the Cowboys were going to win the game. I don't know that we were picking, per se, but I thought the Cowboys would win in large part because Tampa's not any good. We knew Tampa isn't any good. We knew this going into yesterday's game. We knew it last week. We knew it 4 weeks ago. Tampa spent the whole season trying to be better, trying to justify the existence of having the greatest player of all time on their roster, and they couldn't do it. They can't run the ball at all, which means you force Brady to do way more than he should be doing at this age because you can't run the ball. You got offensive line issues. You couldn't protect him really. You couldn't keep the Dallas pass rush off him. No. So now the Dallas Cowboys have to go to San Francisco. We'll see. We'll see what they're made of. This is a team in San Francisco you and I both think will go to the Super Bowl from the NFC. So we will now see what the Dallas Cowboys had. All the pressure was on them all week. They had to hear all this noise, outside noise, as they say now. It was kind of predictable that the Cowboys are going to play well last night. Are they going to play well Sunday in Northern California?
So I don't want to sound like you, because whenever a question goes to you which contains the words, "Were you surprised by?" you always say, "No, I wasn't surprised." But like you, I was not surprised by this at all. Because you're right, Tampa Bay is a bad team. Yeah. Mike, they won 8 games all year. 4 in the rancid division they play in. They beat 2 teams that finished over 500, and one of those games was 19 weeks ago. Like, Tom Brady can beat you in the last 5 minutes of a game if you're within 10. They weren't within 20. You know, they just weren't within 20. Cowboys owned the game. And to your point about running and passing, the Cowboys ran the ball 35 times and they passed it 33, which is great balance. And Tampa Bay ran it 12 and passed it 66. It's the only thing the Cowboys did wrong was miss extra points. And that guy missed 4.
Wow.
Like, that doesn't even happen in high school. I don't know if they're going to take that guy to San Francisco unless they want to put him on at halftime in a contest. That was just no good. And Dak Prescott, that's why they paid Dak Prescott all this money. Because he's been a very good quarterback for 4 or 5 years, and he's earned the money, and he had a quarterback rating of 143.3.
And yet, if the Cowboys go to San Francisco and lay an egg, that's all anybody's going to talk about. This is what you get paid to win in the playoffs, so you get paid as much money as today's star athletes are paid. It's not for the regular season. It's not because they won 12 or whatever they won. It has nothing to do with that. What are you going to do in the playoffs? That's a nice baby step for the Cowboys. That's all. It's not going to be overstated here. Maybe overstated in a lot of other places, not here. Tom Brady, the Golden Boy, did not reveal his future plans last night after the game. The 45-year-old quarterback thanked his teammates, the franchise, even reporters, which just shocked me. He's about to become an unrestricted free agent. A year ago, he announced his retirement before changing his mind 40 days later. You know, that didn't surprise me either. Tony, where do you think the Golden Boy goes from here?
I would say either Las Vegas or San Francisco. I do not think he's going to retire. I think they're going to carry him out on his shield. I mean, He retired, as you said, for an hour and a half, and he came right back. What was the point of even retiring? Let me just consult my notes here. Well, I don't even have to consult my notes. Look, a guy like this, he's the greatest quarterback who ever played the game. Nobody doubts this. He has all the records worth holding. Most passes, most completions, most yards, most touchdowns, most wins, most playoff wins. So he's not padding his resume. He's out there in front of everybody. He is playing football because he cannot imagine doing anything else. I saw this tape piece that Steve Young did about retirement.
Wasn't that a great piece?
In which Steve Young, he called retirement death.
Death.
Okay?
Yeah, he did.
Death. So I don't think that Tom Brady is going to sign up for that. I don't think he'll be in Tampa Bay, but I think he's going to go out and try and find a place with an offensive line so he doesn't have to throw the ball into the ground 1 second after the snap. And he doesn't have to bounce them and sail them. And let's see if he was unsightly this year for 3/4 of almost every game. Let's see how it'll be again. I don't think he's leaving, Mike.
You know, last year when he retired, I said, I don't believe this. And when he came out of retirement, I had my specific reasons for why I thought he was coming out of retirement, some which, sort of bore out. I think he's done. I think he's going to say,
really?
When he had tears in his eyes last night and when he thanked everybody the way he did, I think he knew. Not because there was pressure from elsewhere, maybe even in the household he lived in, because he thinks, this is it. I've done this. I've done it. I've done it better than anybody's ever done it. And that piece, see, you and I watched that piece, and it impacted us both with Steve Young narrating, talking about himself and Aikman.
Yeah.
And it just, it was a wow piece, Tony, because we've seen John Elway. We watched those guys' entire careers. I think that Brady, he's got $400 million coming to him from Fox Television to do games or whatever they're going to pay him to do. I think that was it. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't.
What more is there to do for him?
I don't think he's afraid of being 46 and playing because he won a Super Bowl at 43. I don't think he'd want to go out this way. And I think there's going to be a market for him. We'll see. Let's stay with old guys for 800, Alex.
Okay.
LeBron James had 48 last night in the second game of a back-to-back where he had 35. Sometime next month, LeBron is going to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the all-time lead in points. LeBron is 38 years old, and last night he played against Jabari Smith Jr., who told him in the middle of the game, and I'm quoting here, "You played against my dad."
Great.
That was a jaw-dropper for LeBron. Wilbon, the Lakers are struggling, but do you see any evidence that LeBron's career is winding down?
Well, not his career. I mean, Tony, look, the only problem with him and Kareem and the points is that the numbers, as always, they obscure more important things. LeBron James is the best old guy player. Yes, I'm saying old guy. 38 years old. Ever. Nobody north of 35 has ever been as good as LeBron James is now.
That's right. That's right.
It just hasn't. And not even close. And it's not just the points. People go crazy over the points. It doesn't mean LeBron's going to retire as the greatest scorer of all time. He's not. But it obscures how great a player he has been and still is, and apparently can continue to be. And Tony, he doesn't close. Look, I watch these games. I watch LeBron every night. It's like last night. I told Matthew, turn your phone off, put your AirPods down, do all this other. We're going to watch Tom Brady tonight. And I say that with LeBron. We're going to watch LeBron. Stop all this other stuff you're doing. Because LeBron is so great, rebounding the ball, passing the ball, setting up teammates. He can't close the way he once closed. That's the only thing. But, the Kareem chase is going to obscure all of it, and people, including half the people with this network, are going to go nuts over the points, which don't matter as much as LeBron's true greatness.
Yeah, it must be tough to be Matthew and have his dad say, we got to watch this game tonight. Forget about the history homework. Forget about the math. We're watching LeBron.
Well, the math. You got to do the math. I can't help it.
Look. Tom Brady said this before, you said it as well. He's the greatest quarterback who ever lived. LeBron James is not the greatest basketball player who ever lived, and he never will be. But he's the greatest basketball player we've seen in the last 20 years. All right? And he may not be the best player on the court right now, but he is the most admirable, and here's why. Because he doesn't take off for load management this year. He goes out there and gives you his best, every single night, the way Michael Jordan did. He is conscious of the obligation of an entertainer to go out there and assume that somebody's going to see him who's never seen him before and is never going to see him again, and he gives him his best. And to your point about being at 38 years old, he was only 38 last month, but since he's 38, he's averaging 37 points a game.
It's crazy.
Kareem in his 38th year averaged 23.4. LeBron in his 38th year is averaging 29.7. I don't know if it takes a toll that his team isn't good enough to win. And I don't think he's thinking about retirement. There's this quote, Mike.
He's too
There's
good.
a quote he gave to The Athletic. Me and Brady, we're the same people. We're out there for championships. He's staying out there, and he should. He's that good right now. Let's take a break. Coming up, Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence both had big games, but who was more likely to do it again?
And is Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey more valuable to his team? Toss-up is next. You kiddies, put your tablets down. Put all that stupid junk away. Stop doing 8 things. Watch the damn game. Watch Brady, well, you might not get a chance, and watch LeBron. Stop doing all that other junk you're doing.
Academic Wilbon, they called him, as he took a break to watch a game. And still... It's time for toss-up. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, finishes the show, considers staying up late to watch the Sixers and Clippers, then falls asleep by 7:45. What's first?
Toss-up. Which quarterback is more likely to repeat his breakout performance? Daniel Jones or Trevor Lawrence?
Okay, so Trevor Lawrence did not have a full game breakout performance. He had a breakout second half, because in the first half, he stunk and he had 4 interceptions. Daniel Jones, running and passing, had a more complete game. This is a tough question for me. I'm inclined to say Trevor Lawrence, Mike, because he's going to face an easier defense. Kansas City is ranked 18th against the pass all season long, and Daniel Jones is going to Philadelphia, where the Eagles are ranked 1st against the pass. But I think you'll agree with me on this. I think Jones's familiarity with the Eagles, because he sees them twice a year, makes that an easier game. I suspect that Trevor Lawrence will be a better quarterback. He may be a better quarterback now. But Jacksonville is not in the same league as Kansas City. And the Giants are, in fact, in the same league as Philadelphia. So in this case, I will take Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm going to take Daniel Jones too, Tony. I mean, look, Trevor, repeat that game? No, he can't repeat that game because he's not going to go 4-4. Because if he goes 4 interceptions early in that game again, this one will be over. This is Kansas City, all right? So let's not confuse it. The Chiefs have had a week off. They got time to sit there and just study him and them. And this happens all the time. People get to see a team, and the other team's got to buy. They go, oh, wait a minute. They got this and this and this. The other team is at home, at the crib, watching, studying, preparing. Daniel Jones is playing against a division opponent. He can run the ball some against him. He can extend plays. Again, that number, 57 times during the season, he extended for a first down. That's doable. He can do. He won't throw for 300, but he doesn't have to. He can repeat that performance. Repeatable, yes.
What's next?
Toss-up. Which running back is more valuable to his offense? Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey?
Again, this is a very tough question. Since the trade that brought McCaffrey to San Francisco, the 49ers are 11-1. And that one was McCaffrey's first game when he didn't even know the plays. His value to that team is obvious. But I think his value is essentially that he unlocked all the doors to that offense and made that offense the whole greater than the sum of its parts. I would say that Christian McCaffrey was the last piece of the puzzle there, whereas Saquon Barkley, to me, is the whole puzzle.
He's the whole thing.
I mean, I don't think you can win if you're the Giants without him. I'm not certain that Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the 49ers. I know Saquon Barkley is the best player on the Giants. You saw it last week with the 2 touchdowns, with the 9 rushes for, I think, 53 and the 5 catches for 57 against Minnesota. So in this case, I'm going to say Saquon Barkley.
This question is easy. As versatile as Christian McCaffrey is, Tony, there's some guys on his team, named Kittle, Ayuk, Samuel is in Debo, and another running back, Wilson. Stop. If Christian McCaffrey was told to just go take a long lunch, you might not miss him with those weapons. And he's great. I'd love to have him. But I know he's not the best because he's not better than three of them dudes. He's not better than Kittle at his position. He's not better than Ayuk in his position. And he sure as hell ain't better than Debo Samuel, who's the most dangerous weapon in the NFL. He's just part of an ensemble. Are you kidding? The New York Giants are nowhere without that running back. You're right, he's the best player on the team. And when he was injured coming up in these first couple of seasons, they couldn't get this far because they didn't have him. Saquon Barkley, easy answer.
Way to copy me on both.
Please.
Appreciate that.
You
That's
said
it.
it was a hard question.
Let's take one last break.
Nothing hard.
Still to come, the Chargers don't take a nap, but they make some coaching changes.
They're always napping out. And we apparently have a front runner in the bidding for the Washington Commanders.
I will say this about Christian McCaffrey, who we both think is a great player.
He's terrific.
When he's on the field, they're better.
Yeah, they are.
That matters.
They are.
They're better. Happy time, people. Happy 26th birthday, Kyle Tucker. The Astros right fielder is emerging as a star. After hitting 30 home runs in 2021, Tucker again hit 30 in 2022 and led the Astros in stolen bases with 25 and an RBI with 107, fifth best in all of baseball. Plus, Tucker won a Gold Glove. The Astros need this kind of production from players other than Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez to offset the departures of Carlos Correa, George Springer, and Josh Reddick. Tucker was the Astros' #1 pick and 5th overall in the baseball draft of 2015 out of HB Plant High School in Tampa. Tucker made $764,000 last year, and he's headed to arbitration, hoping to get 10 times that this year.
Yeah, probably should. The Astros, Tony, nobody seems better at finding and developing talent than the Astros. One can only hope, I would only hope, that Ryan Poles, the GM of the Bears, and his staff can scout and develop, mostly scout, the same way the Astros can. Maybe they need to find an Astros consultant to help them with this #1 pick situation.
But not a marketing person. Wilbon hates marketing people. A not so happy anniversary, Cleveland Browns. On this day 35 years ago, with the Browns making a furious comeback against the Broncos in Mile High, Cleveland running back Ernest Biner was stripped of the ball by Broncos DB Jeremiah Castile just steps from the goal line. At the time he was stripped, Biner had enough yards to give the Browns 1st and goal. This heartbreaking turnover is what Cleveland fans painfully recall as a fumble. It happened just 1 year later after John Elway led the Broncos on a 98-yard game-tying drive that all football fans know as the drive. Honestly, Wilbon, with Cleveland ownership now and the signing of Deshaun Watson, it's hard to feel sorry for the Browns as we once did.
Tony, I was at both those games, covering both those games for the Washington Post. The first column I wrote on Live Action was the fumble. And Ernest Biner, of course, came to coach in Washington. And after that disappointment, I have total admiration for Ernest Biner, given what happened in that game, his role in it, and how he handled himself publicly and privately. Nothing but admiration. And that as a coach and a man later as well.
Happy trails to the Chargers' offensive leadership. Coming out of their playoff collapse in Jacksonville, the Chargers have fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, and their quarterbacks coach, Shane Day. You might reasonably wonder why they fired offensive coaches when the Jaguars scored 31 points in a little over one half on the Chargers' defense, but we have to deal with what's in front of us. So for the moment, head coach Brandon Staley still has his job, though it's early in the week. Wilbon, you said you would fire Staley, so your reaction to this?
Why do I need to get rid of those offensive coaches? The offense did their job. They staked them to this big lead. So they are the fall guys. And Brandon Staley, who makes these wild, crazy-eyed decisions most Sundays in the season, he keeps his job? No, I'd have fired him.
Yeah, I think the defensive guys are in a room sitting around looking at each other saying, we escaped this one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We escaped it? Good for us. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
NBC Sports Washington reports that Sixers and Devils owner Josh Harris appears to be the favorite to buy the Washington Commanders. Does that make sense to you?
It does, Tony. He knows how to do it. He's got experience owning and doing it successfully, and he's local. Field school in, suburban D.C., right across the line. Andy Murray beat 13th seed Matteo Berrettini in 5 sets at the Aussie Open. You impressed with that?
I mean, I'm happy when Andy Murray wins because he has bionic hips, but he can't go 2 weeks. He can't go. Northwestern postponed tonight's men's college hoops game against Iowa due to a COVID outbreak on its team. Your thoughts?
Hope everybody gets well quickly. I'm postponing my visit to Saturday's home game against Wisconsin now. I don't know what's going on. The Grizzlies crushed the Suns by 30 for their 10th straight win. Is that significant?
The significance is how much Phoenix has fallen off.
Yeah.
So notes here. 2-12 in their last 14, 6-18 in their last 24. Last one, men's college hoops tonight. Big night in the Big 12. Who you got?
Kansas at Kansas State and Texas at Iowa State. I guess I like Kansas and Iowa State, Tony. That's where I'm going.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I think the field school's actually in the district.
Is it in the district? It's inside the line. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same
so.
time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcast. That'll be great news in D.C. People will celebrate.